Well, hello, beautiful artisans and fashionistas. So you know what I forgot to share with you the other day are these beautiful, beautiful earrings. I don't know if you can see them. They're green and they're shiny, shiny green. And they're not, they're not like diamonds or anything like that. But they are super adorable and super easy to put on. So I got them for a couple of dollars the other day at the thrift shop when I got the raincoat, and I forgot to share these with you. So with that, I've had these tucked away, these two necklaces, and I just decided to put them together. Do they really go together? Probably not, but you know what? It doesn't matter because I wanted to wear the heart today. That's shiny, and I wanted to wear the pretty purple, soft purple of violet that goes with the violets on my blouse. And I've got the green on for spring. Even though we got snow, we got a quite little bit of snow last night and today. But if you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. We create with all recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And if you are coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I love your suggestions, your sharing of your projects, you're just talking to me. I just love it. So today's going to be a little bit different, not too different, but at the beginning it is. So if you want to fast forward, you don't want to hear me talking too much, and you want to see the projects, just go a little forward. But I'll share with you the hat that we're putting the lining in Friday up at the guild, at the art guild, and I started it and I was showing it to you. It's just a really rough demo for you. So when I got back home, I took my time and I was folding it and I hand sewed it. Now I might do a machine stitch around it, but right now I just hand sewed it. So, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that. And then we'll go over the hat that we also started on Friday, creating a hat from just, scrap, different sizes of scrap denims, and it's a Boro-Sashiko inspired hat. So we'll go over that next. But the first thing I want to go over is I want to talk about a couple of things in my books, both books really briefly. When I wrote this book, and I'll go over the other one too. But when I wrote this book, The Bridge of Life, I was thinking it's going to be one poem, this and that. And now I realize, as I'm finishing up the second part of this, Bridge of Life 2, okay, second part. And I'll tell you what the name of that is once I have it published, which will be soon. But I was thinking, well, it's a book that can help people kind of get a different perspective on life and kind of know that when you read this, it gives you the sense that, wait a minute, you are not completely alone when you're going through difficulties. And difficulties are not always created by you or your decisions. They are sometimes created around you, and you do not have the control, or control. People are always looking for control, or there's not much you can do except manage it in the best way you know how. However, I really, really believe, and you've heard me say this before, that we are here for each other. Now, with that said, I really believe too that we inherently learn different things from our experiences on this earth and journey. With that, we automatically, as artisans or fashionistas or creative people, we incorporate it into our creativity. We incorporate it into what we're building. We incorporate it into what we're writing. Okay, so with that, I want to share this with those of you who are struggling, because there is a lot going on, and in the financial sector too. And there's so much more to us as people, right, than the finances. Although yes, the basics, having the basics to life is critical. And so we see many people falling off the wayside from that. And many times we see these situations could have been helped except for the, let's say, the decision of another who could have helped. So with that, let me just read this. The traverse, in other words, the bridge, your path. The traverse, calm or dramatic though it may be, offers footnotes of enlightenment, from which an assimilation of life experiences guide you to solutions to manage, accept, or overcome difficulties, obstacles, pain, and grief. By extending a word, a hand, a way to live life in peace. Corporate though this may sound, serenity gracefully sets itself in a place you know, for it emanates a sense of familiarity and embraces the heart of brokenness whilst leading it to truth. 'Tis locus pacus. That means the center of truth. The traverse, reliable and ready, it may reside deep within one's soul, reflecting jagged pieces of glass, creating mosaics that can be seen when the water's clear. Or it may be skirted on the edges of inaction of a kind deed. The traverse may simply impress upon our earthly realm as a simple wooden path raised just above a streamlet, destined upon a path, visible or not. Metaphysics are at play, divine and on a continuum that morphs mindfully and uniquely within our hearts to heal and inspire. The traverse, steady as it is, may be subject to posers on its path, creating perceived obstacles and illusions of failure. Take heed, for wisdom calls on the shields of goodness. As unwelcome entities disguise themselves in any given form, seeking opportunities to extend their tentacles onto bitter grounds of unforgiveness, sinkholes skimming the earth, or values traded for monetary gain. For they stay true to mere delusions, snagging, hooking on anything they can. Tread courageously, remembering the bridge of life is unshakable, for it is the authenticity of the mission that frees the soul. Amen. Love and light, Carmella. So that was part of my poem, but it brought you to the end of the book. So now you know. Now you know the end. I wanted to read it because there are situations, maybe individuals, maybe just things, right, that arise in this world. If you hear thoughts, they rise in this world, and they make you start, you start looking at things more negatively. Like I said in here, maybe somebody says something, and maybe they say it intentionally. Maybe they do an action intentionally, where they create something that makes you feel like you did not succeed. Guess what? I am here to say to you and to remind you, you are a winner. You're beautiful. You're perfect the way you are. We all have things in our life that we might trip over, we might not understand, we may figure out how to do better. So anyway, I wanted to this will reach whoever needs to hear this, but I just wanted to, I wanted to share that today. So before the art. And one other thing I want to share is my other book, right? Okay, now when I wrote this book, and I'm just going to remind you the title, Recycle, Inspire, Create, Reviving Earth with Historical Cultural Arts. I never could have dreamed that the finances in America could be shifted so extremely quickly as they are right now during this video. However, when I wrote this book, I was thinking of the waste accumulation from, let's say, the fast fashion. You know, I was looking at the accumulation of millions of tons, right, of waste in the oceans and on the land. And I still am. However, I was not thinking so much at that point. Even though I don't go in to stores and buy new clothes because I do believe they're way too expensive, I go into the thrift shops and get the second hand. But now that we've had this shift or oncoming shifts where things might even get more expensive, guess what? I would emphasize my book even more. I would encourage you to, I'm going to try to do an ebook. Right now I just have the printed book, but I would encourage you to do things like this. This is paper, fabric, and stitching. So this is a card. Okay, all recycled materials. And the hat, of course, is recycled, you know, scrap denim. And here's more, as you know, of my work. So I would, and I tell you the materials I've used. I talk to you about the mindset, and I talk to you about some of the little techniques I use to stitch them. But I would, I really always believe that we're going to come right back around to having to be very mindful of our scrap fabrics. How can we use them? Whether it's a little small piece like this or like this, you know what I mean? Now, I want to say something too, because I talk in this book about cultural diversity, and it is a fact. If something stays the same, it's not going to grow. It's just not. Diversity is what initiates, it's systemic to growth, to creativity. So I talk about that in here, and how immigration in the 1800s in the United States really added to all the different techniques of how to make quilts. You know, with people coming from England, coming from Sweden, coming from India, Italy, France, and putting their technique, sharing their technique in their way. And all over the world, by the way, literally over the centuries, cultures saved scrap. They saved scrap. And or if they were working with the earth, like reeds and straw and bark, and working with these and cotton to create clothing, they're very mindful of saving every ounce. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that up. I wanted to share it because I really do believe it's really important right now that we continue, right, to be mindful for, yes, the sake of our earth, and we don't want to get a whole bunch of more garbage on top of garbage, and so much of it accumulates before you can even get it clean. But now with the potential maybe financial things spiking from other countries, imports, exports, all this stuff going on. So anyway, with that, I wanted to share that. So now the hat that we worked on Friday, this is the hat. You see this is the lining. Okay, and all I did, see, I'm going to show you here. You can see yeah, here you'll be able to see some of the stitches. You see some of the stitches on the outside? It's okay that you see the stitches on the outside because that's what we're doing anyway. I added a few more stitches on top. So these are our Sashiko visible stitching. And these stitches you see going across are the machine stitching. Now, for those of you who are like, well, you know, Carmella, you're wasting a lot of time doing your hand stitching. I'm just going to take a couple of pieces. I'm going to whip together that hat with my machine, and then I'm going to add some pretty pieces of fabric, maybe a flower or bird. Now, I want to tell you, when you do that, a couple of things. If you do that, if you're going to hand stitch your little applique onto your hat, and you have already pieced together your hat with your machine stitching, this right here, this machine stitching, this is tough to sew through. And I mean tough. This reinforces the denim. So a couple things. You want to make sure you have your sewing machine needles that are for denim and, you know, thick fabric in your machine. And the other thing of it is, I would highly advise, if you're going to put a Boro-Sashiko built type of abstract design on here, or you're going to do your applique, whatever it is, I would hand, and you want it hand sewn because you want the Sashiko stitching to be seen, I would hand sew it before you machine sew. And then maybe you just machine sew around it, because if you're going to hand stitch through this, or pick an area that you're not going to have your machine stitching. So anyway, that's just a tip, but this will go on just really nice and smoothly. I love this hat. I love the way it feels. It's lovely. Now the part of this hat I really like is this part with the little rip there, a little natural rip. And yeah, I just love that. And this is fine that that's showing. If you don't want it to show, bring your hem up even more. Now some hats, you'll notice they have the hem just at the top, and then they have a different kind of a band going around right in the middle. So there's many different ways that you can add your lining. So I wanted to share that with you today. So this hat is complete. So we're going to put this over here. Now, for those of you who missed the last video, this looked ridiculous, right? Because you had longer pieces, you had shorter pieces, pieces over, and this and that. Now, I haven't gotten out my tiny little pieces like this, where I will be crossing like that, and I will actually be using more print fabrics, scrap fabrics that are not denims but more cottons. So I'm going to hold this up. Okay, this is the larger model head, but you see I have this pin, I have the top pinned, and the top is a pocket, and I'll be sewing that closed. But I just want to turn it because I did a tiny bit of trimming on the bottom, and I may even bring this up more. Now I'm thinking two different things. Okay, and it doesn't matter. Let me just preface this. Let's say I sew the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, I really wanted to fold that up, because look, I'm thinking this. See, you can't see it in the camera. I'm just going to fold it. So I'm folding it up like that. Okay. And I'm just looking at that for a moment, because I may want, look, I'm looking at the layers, I'm looking at the design, I'm thinking when it's stitched. I really like that. I like the layers, okay? Now, the other thing I might do, you see where the pocket is here. Let me look at the other pocket. I think the other pocket is lower. Yeah, that's a little lower. Doesn't matter, because if I decide I want to cut it, I will cut it. And then I can sew it, my Sashiko stitching. The same with this. I can cut this bottom part off, and I can sew it right up here, maybe on an angle, diagonal is what I'm thinking. But the thing of it is, because spring, right, we're entering spring and summer. If this hat is shorter, so it's coming like this, like just above the ear, I think that'd be pretty cool. I have a couple of denim hats like that now at the Guild, and some people pick them up and they love them. And so yeah, I may do that. So what I am doing first, and I just wanted to share with you, I'll do that one after. I'll share this one, maybe you can see it better. Okay, so let's see if I can see it. But what I do is I leave the hat on the styrofoam head. Now, if you don't have a styrofoam head and you have, let's say, a tall soda bottle, okay? You have a tall soda bottle. You can use that to kind of drape the hat on. Now, the only thing you might have to do there is kind of wrap some, let's say, old sheet, raggedy sheet around it, so you can actually have a top to it and pin your hat to it. So you don't necessarily need a styrofoam head. Years and years ago, when I was doing my crocheting, like 30 years ago, crocheting hats and selling them at the craft fairs, they would sell right out in that time, right out. And or at the little stores, I used soda bottles to kind of drape them on for display. And so it's taken me, you know, a quarter of a century to graduate to the styrofoam head. Now, the other thing you can do, because I can't really see I can't see you in this when I'm doing it this way. So you can lay this down also, and it's not going to go anywhere because you've got it pinned to the top. And if you need to pin it more, you can pin it more on the side, and it's not going to hurt it. So you can just kind of keep it like that and just sew straight along. Now, if when you're doing this and you know you're sewing it and you're like, oh my gosh, and you check it underneath and it didn't go through, let's say it didn't catch your crown, this part, this is your crown, because you're trying to get them together. This is a little bit lower, so it may not have caught the crown. But if it doesn't, you can just add more stitches. You don't need to pull those out because those Sashiko stitches are free form, and they're your simple running stitch, and they're for adornment, right? So you can adorn your hat any way that you want to. So with that, you can just lay it down like that and continue to sew. Now, as you're going along too, typically what I do is I pull these pins out, but I'm not so sure I caught that. So I'm going to leave that there for now, and I'm going to move over here because I want to show you that, look, you can use different, and I'm going to bring this over here. You can use your different crochet lacy threads, and as you know, I have a whole bin of them, but look, for this hat, I'm going to use orange, I'm going to use red in certain spots, I'm going to use white, I'm going to use black, and I may use purple. Will you notice all of these colors? You may and you may not, because I will be using different fabrics as I go along. And I may just do a couple little stitches of a little bit of a color in a subtle way to just kind of design the hat. So now when I was talking to you Friday, I was saying, yeah, you know, you can design the panels or the pieces of the hat before you sew them to the hat. What you risk is making sure that your design is going to show the way that you want it. If you do it like this, the lovely part of it is that you've got your panels, and if you want to put a piece like this across, see, you want to put it across like this and just add it, you can. And then it also works as a reinforcement. And here is, this could be shorter, or like I said, I was thinking of taking this piece down here and cut that and then bring it up, but we'll see. Now the other thing is that these hats can be asymmetrical. They don't have to be perfectly even. They just don't, because these are artistic, creative art pieces, they're artware. So over here, what I wanted to show you here is just a little bit more sewing, and I am using a black thread, and again, I guess I can put this down to show you. And let's see, maybe no, you're not going to see it like that. I'll turn it like this, or I can't turn the hat, but I'm going to take these out so I can turn it. I may have some of these in the side though too. So with that, this is the reason I want to show you this. Look, these are all different pieces, so I wanted to show you how I do it. I will typically focus on a piece and go around it and sew it on. And I'm thinking in my mind, this is just, I am mending, I am sewing, I am piecing together something in a very rough way because I don't have anything else. I'm thinking that. Now I may have something else and, you know, resources to make a refined hat, but that's not the style that I'm going for, right? For my artistic vibe, for me, that's not what I'm going for. So I just, now here is what I want to show you. See, right here you have this piece, that's one, then you've got this piece, that's two, and then you've got this piece, that's three. You've got 3 layers here. So this is going to be a little bit thicker, and it may shift on you, and you want to be careful because you got your pin there. I'm going to take that pin out because it wants to, I have to hold that area where the pin was. So now when you get sections like this, the lovely part of it is you can reinforce your stitches, you can create more designs, you can add more fabric, so that would be stacking. That would be stacking, what I call stacking in Boro-Sashiko method. And as you go around your hat and you're sewing like this, okay, you're sewing it and nice and tight, and you're being very mindful of making sure that that piece is going to be adhered and stitched really, really well. And so why am I telling you this? Because if you go through a hat like this, I'm just going to put this back. You go through a hat like this and you're like, okay, I'm just going to throw some pieces together on the bottom. I'm going to, you know, attach it to the crown, and I'm just, you know, that's going to be fine. I guarantee, and let's say you go around it with the machine, and you're not focusing on, let's say, these little pieces, you could end up with gaps. And I know because I've done it. This is at the when I was doing my prototypes, when I was trying to figure out the type of vibe I wanted, and if I could get that vibe. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. So I share my knowledge and my tips with you. So anyway, with that, I'm going to continue my little hand sewing as in my downtime this evening when I watch the news, okay? And I will complete this. Let's see, I'm going to tell you, time's flying. Today's already Tuesday. And so, and you know, I've got a bunch of things I'm working on. So, as you know, I've been coming on and doing the videos like once a week, right? More once a week, maybe twice. So if I can get to the twice a week, that's super. I will manage that. And but yeah, we're going to be doing some fun videos on the fashionistas again, because I don't know, I look at the way they put their clothing together as a complete total inspiration. I study the styles, and because I am very down to earth, very humble in my styles, I have to work with scraps. I have to. And I love to be innovative and come up with a new way. So I've got a bunch of new ideas for hats coming up too, but that's going to be more towards the end of summer. So anyway, with that, I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. And if there's something that you're waiting for, that you want to see or you want to see again, let me know. I am more than happy to do a video that, let's say I did a year ago, and just kind of do an updated version of it for you. So with that, I hope everyone has an absolutely beautiful day, and we'll see you in the next one.